The machine's waiver recommendations tool can be found under the In-Season tab. The machine's waiver recommendations tool simulates your entire season using your current rosters. In doing so, it comes up with a value for each of your players. That value percent is the amount of impact that player would have on your championship if they were cut. For example, Marquise Colston would represent a 2% drop in my chance of winning the championship if they were cut and not replaced. The value meter, on the other hand, is just a visual representation of this. The Retain Player button allows me to tell the machine that I don't want to cut a player. For example, this is a Dynasty League, and I don't want to cut Mohamed Sanu. So I simply put a check mark in the box, and it now tells the machine not to consider him for a waiver move. The lock and limit features of the machine allow you to further customize your waiver claims. For example, the lock allows you to tell the machine that you only want a specific position replaced by a specific position. For example, if I check that box, kickers will only be replaced by kickers in the waiver's recommendations. It will no longer tell me to cut a kicker for another position. The limit feature, on the other hand, allows me to tell the machine never to increase the number of players at that position. For example, with the QB box checked, it will never tell me to cut a running back and add a quarterback. It might tell me to cut a quarterback and add a running back, however. The machine understands both first-come, first-served waivers and up to 6 rounds of blind bidding. In my league, I have 2 rounds of blind bidding. So all I do is select 2 rounds and click Get Recommendations. Now the machine's simulating the entire season again and examining my free agent pool to see if there's any players that'll help me out. The value number, again, the higher the better. So Sean Green is the player they want me to cut in the first round for any of these players, and it stacks them in order so we know how to submit our waiver claims. It also gives me a couple of recommendations for round 2. Now eventually you run out of players in free agency that are better than the players on your roster, and the machine understands that and will stop giving you recommendations. So if I change this to 4 rounds, click Get Recommendations, I still get a recommendation for the first round, I still get a recommendation for the second round, and the third round. However, I don't get a recommendation for the 4th round as the machine has ran out of beneficial players for me. So that is the machine's waiver recommendations tool.